The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors have been proudly serving the people of this community since 1918. Service is our motto. The poor, the rich, the middle class and all are given the best of care and attention at all times. You have the privilege to select what you want. In your time of need, contact the capable, the competent, and the dependable staff of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home who is genuinely concerned with your care. At J.W. Williams Funeral Home, you are aptly served by the proprietor president, Deacon Arthur L. Parker, who continues the traditions and values set forth by the past president, Dr. Napoleon Williams. Your announcers for the J.W. Williams Funeral Home Sunday morning program are Deacon Arthur L. Parker, Reverend Isaac H. Owens, Mrs. Calandra Wilkerson Parker, Minister Frankie Harmon, Miss Sandra Johnson, and Deacon Earl Clark, Jr.
Thank you, and good morning, friends. We come to you this morning to bring announcements, dedications, and songs. We certainly hope that your day may be brighter after listening to our program. The family of retired United States Army veteran Deacon Eddie Lee Cooper Sr. of Leslie, Georgia. The family of Miss Dorica Danielle Holmes of Americus, Georgia, would like to thank their many friends for the food, the flowers, the condolences, and all other expressions of sympathy and kindness shown to them during their hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. Retired United States Army veteran Deacon Eddie Lee Cooper Sr., age 83, of 1941 Georgia Highway 27 East, Leslie, Georgia, died Wednesday, August 4th, at his residence in Leslie, Georgia. The funeral service with full military honors for United States Army veteran Deacon Eddie Lee Cooper Sr., age 83, was held Sunday, August 8th, graveside at the Cooper Memorial Gardens in Leslie, Georgia. The Reverend Gerald Harris, pastor of the Mountain Creek AME Church, officiated. Survivors include his loving and devoted wife, Mrs. Effie Cooper of Leslie, Georgia, his loving and devoted children, Mr. Eddie Smith and his wife, Mrs. Barbara Smith of Leslie, Georgia, Mr. Stanley Cooper and his wife, Mrs. Theodosia Cooper of Leesburg, Georgia, and Miss Mary Dean Smith of Americus, Georgia. 11 beloved grandchildren, 11 great-grandchildren, his beloved sisters, Mrs. Barbara Lanier and Miss Eartha Roberson, and her husband, Mr. Johnny Roberson of Augusta, Georgia, Mrs. Nadine King and her husband, Mr. John King of Smithfield, Georgia, Mrs. Vera Arney and her husband, Mr. Arney of Dallas, Georgia, Mrs. Irene Rutherford of Douglasville, Georgia, his beloved brothers, Mr. Willie Cooper of Leslie, Georgia, Mr. Tony Cooper Sr. and his wife, Mrs. Amanda Cooper of Americus, Georgia, Mr. Reuben Cooper of Miami, Florida, Mr. Thomas Cooper and his wife, Mrs. Angelette Cooper of Fayetteville, North Carolina, and Mr. Roselle Cooper and his wife, Mrs. Shirley Cooper of Vienna, Georgia. One beloved sister-in-law, two brothers-in-law, a host of nieces and nephews, many cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. United States Army veteran retired, Deacon Eddie Lee Cooper Sr., age 83, of 1941, Georgia Highway 27 East, Leslie, Georgia. Miss Derica Danielle Holmes, age 38, of 749 Wheatley Street, Americus, Georgia, died Sunday, August 1st, at the Phoebe Sumter Medical Center in Americus, Georgia. The funeral service for Miss Derica Danielle Holmes, age 38, was held Thursday, August 12th, on the grounds of the Whole Truth Ministry in Americus, Georgia. The pastor, the Reverend George F. Muntz, officiated. The burial followed at the Staley Memorial Gardens in Americus, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted children, Master Khalid Lee Holmes and Master Jacob Holmes, both of Americus, Georgia. Her beloved and devoted mother, Mrs. Cynthia Hinton, and her husband, Mr. Jarrell Hinton, of Alexandria, Virginia. Her beloved father, Mr. Derek Holmes. Her loving and devoted sisters, Mrs. Latoya Ross, and her husband, Mr. Alfonso Ross, of Americus, Georgia. Miss Kayla Holmes of Atlanta, Georgia. Her beloved brothers, Mr. Danny Williams, Jr. of Washington, D.C., and Mr. Dakota Holmes of Macon, Georgia. Her loving grandmother, Mrs. Doris Daniels of Americus, Georgia. Her loving aunts and uncles, Miss Beverly Rawls and Miss Linda Cleckley of Americus, Georgia. Mrs. Sandra Daniels and her husband, Mr. William Daniels of Leesburg, Georgia. Miss Cheryl Holmes, Miss Clarissa Holmes, Mr. Gregory Holmes and his wife, Mrs. Ethelene Holmes, Mr. Winford Holmes and his wife, Mrs. Jackie Holmes, Mr. Maurice Cleckley, and Mr. Milton Cleckley, all of Americus, Georgia. Miss Donna Irvin of Albany, Georgia. Mr. Linwood Holmes and his wife, Mrs. B.J. Holmes of Montezuma, Georgia. Mr. Larry Holmes of Chicago, Illinois. And Mr. Henry Cleckley and his wife, Mrs. Adrian Cleckley of Byron, Georgia. A host of cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Mrs. Derica Danielle Holmes, age 38, of 749 Wheatley Street, Americus, Georgia. Again, the family of retired United States Army veteran Deacon Eddie Lee Cooper Sr. of Leslie, Georgia, the family of Miss Derica Danielle Holmes of Americus, Georgia, would like to thank their many friends for all of the many kindnesses shown to them during the hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. May God bless each of you, is their prayer. The J.W. Williams funeral directors, serving Cordele and Vienna, were in charge of each of these arrangements during the past week. And now, it is certainly with the deepest regret that we make the following announcement. Mr. Quamaine S. Outlaw, age 30, of 84 Cole Drive, Hawkinsville, Georgia, died Thursday, August 12th, in Hawkinsville, Georgia. Survivors include his loving and devoted parents, Mr. Lonnie J. Howard and Mrs. Veronica Outlaw Howard of Hawkinsville, Georgia. One beloved son, Mr. Cole D. Outlaw. His loving and caring brothers and sisters, Mr. Lonnie J. Outlaw Howard of Orlando, Florida, Mr. Jonathan J. Howard, and Mr. Tony Howard of Decatur, Georgia, Miss Alex Howard, A. Howard of Hawkinsville, Georgia, and Mr. Marquez Mahogany of Pineview, Georgia. His loving grandparents, Mrs. Betty J. Outlaw of Hawkinsville, Georgia, Mr. Rufus Billy Howard, and Mrs. Geneva D. Howard of Rochelle, Georgia. His beloved grandfather, Mr. Martin Outlaw Jr. of Hawkinsville, Georgia. His beloved aunts and uncles, Mrs. Theresa Rawls and her husband, Mr. Robert Rawls, and Mrs. Belita Jenkins and her husband, Mr. Oscar Jenkins of Hawkinsville, Georgia. Mrs. Christina King and her husband, Mr. Jerome King of Warner Robins, Georgia. Miss Tanya Smith and her husband, Mr. Michael Smith of Savannah, Georgia. Mr. Rufus Howard Jr. of Fitzgerald, Georgia. Mr. Carlos Howard and his wife, Mrs. Jean Howard of Warner Robins, Georgia. Mr. Calvin G. Outlaw and Mr. Calvin Outlaw Jr. Miss Kayla Howard of Fitzgerald, Georgia, and Miss Victoria Outlaw of Cochran, Georgia. A host of great aunts and great uncles, many cousins, to include a very special cousin, Mr. Stanley Ferguson, his beloved nieces and nephews, a host of other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Mr. Quamaine S. Outlaw, age 30, of 84 Cole Drive, Hawkinsville, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Quamaine S. Outlaw, age 30, will be held Friday, August 20th at 11 a.m. graveside at the Spring Hill Baptist Church Cemetery in Tibbettville, Georgia. Elder J.W. Bentley will officiate. The public walk-up visitation will be Thursday, August 19th from 1 until 5 p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors, serving Cordele and Vienna, are in charge of each of these arrangements during this week. We skipped over that. Friends, that conclude our funeral notices for this morning. And as always, we do remind you concerning our pre-funeral arrangements planning available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home, with packages available with a single pay, a 3-year pay, a 5-year pay, and a 10-year pay. So please stop by and talk with us concerning your funeral arrangements needs available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. And also whole life insurance is available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home.
And now for our announcements. You're invited to worship with the New Poplar Spring Baptist Church today. Sunday morning worship service begins at 9:45 a.m. Wednesday evening service begins at 6:45 p.m. You may join them in each of these services via conference call by calling 253-993-3761. Again, that number is 253-993-3761. Pastor Johnny Dean and the members of New Poplar Spring extend to you a cordial invitation to worship with them. The Spring Hill Baptist Church of Tippettville invites you to drive up and worship with them on each first and third Sunday. Worship service will be held this morning beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. You have a cordial invitation to worship with them. Sister Mary Ann Lewis is the secretary. Deacon Sam Anderson is the chairman of deacons. Reverend Choice Cobb Sr. is the pastor. Christ Chapel of Unadilla reminds you of their weekly food pantry that's open every Saturday from 9 a.m. until 12 o'clock noon. That's every Saturday from 9 a.m. until 12 o'clock noon. Mrs. Jeanette Taylor is the coordinator. Christ Chapel Food Pantry each Saturday from 9 a.m. until 12 o'clock noon. Evergreen Baptist Church, Railroad Street of Pinehurst, Georgia, invites you to worship with them to their worship service that will be held on Sunday, August 22nd. They will have in-house worship service beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. on Sunday, August 22nd. Face masks are required, and the guidelines of the CDC will be extremely and explicitly followed. Everyone has a cordial invitation to worship with them on Sunday, August 22nd, beginning at 11 o'clock a.m. Sister Bertha Thomas is the secretary. Deacon John David Law is the chairman of deacons. Reverend David Thomas is the pastor. The Greater Mars Tabernacle Baptist Church Worship on the Grounds invites you to worship with them as they're worshiping on the grounds this morning, Sunday morning, beginning at 9 o'clock a.m. You may join them also on Facebook Live or on a conference call. Tuesday midday prayer begins at 12 o'clock noon. Thursday prayer meeting and Bible study is held at 6 o'clock p.m. The conference call-in number is 229-329-7611. Greater Mars Tabernacle Baptist Church family also extends a cordial invitation for you to worship with them in their Family and Friends Day service that will be held on Sunday, August 29th, beginning at 9 o'clock a.m. They will be worshiping on the grounds. You may also join them on Facebook Live or a conference call by calling again. The number is 229-329-7611. Everyone has a cordial invitation to attend. Mother Lucille Shazer, Church Mother, Deacon Arthur L. Parker, Chairman of Deacons, Dr. K.M. Williams is the pastor. We do apologize for some of the technical difficulties that we are having this morning, but we will continue with our announcements. The Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church invites you to pull up and praise with them each Sunday morning beginning at 10:30 a.m. They are located at 1818 U.S. Highway 41 North, Cordele, Georgia. Again, that's the Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church. Pastor Gregory Williams and the congregation extended to you a cordial invitation to worship with them each Sunday morning beginning at 10 o'clock a.m. The Mount Zion First African Baptist Church announces its conference call schedule each Sunday beginning at 10 o'clock a.m., prayer meeting at 12 o'clock noon on Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday. Bible study is held at 5 o'clock p.m. on Wednesday. The conference call-in number is 515-604-9765. The access code is 288180. Deacon Joe Wedges is the chairman of deacons. Dr. Dan James III is the pastor. You're invited to worship with the Gethsemane Baptist Church today in their outdoor worship service on the grounds of the church, beginning each Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Everyone is asked to please wear a mask, and you have a cordial invitation to worship with them. Deacon Johnny Wilson is the chairman of deacons. Brother Cecil Straughter is the pastor. You're cordially invited to worship at the Mount Calvary Baptist Church today. Church Without Walls worship service will be held via Facebook Live this morning, beginning at 10:30 a.m. Each of you have a very special and cordial invitation to worship with the members of Mount Calvary. Deacon Leon Spears, chairman of deacons. Isaac H. Owens is the pastor. Again, this morning, as we continue with our announcements, we would like to we are experiencing some technical difficulties this morning, so we do ask that you would bear with us. We would like to again remind you, although our screen might not display it at this time, that the Mount Olive Baptist Church of Americus, Georgia, will have a pre-anniversary celebration for Pastor Reverend H.C. Wilson, and the celebration of 40 years will begin today, this morning at 10 o'clock a.m. The celebration will be a 50 states program. Masks are required. For more information, contact Ms. Elizabeth Robinson at 229-815-9532. Dr. H.C. Wilson is the pastor. We have a very special announcement coming from the Crisp County Board of Education, and this is for immediate release to the community. With careful consideration due to an increase in COVID-19 cases in the community, the Crisp County School System Administration has made the decision to move all students to virtual learning for the next 5 school days. Students will return on campus on Monday, August 23rd. Also beginning Monday, August 23rd, we will offer a virtual option for K through 12 students who choose not to return to on-campus this semester due to COVID-19 conditions. Our nutrition department will prepare a meal package to be distributed at the hotspot locations while students are working at home. This decision is made with many factors in mind. Current COVID-19 data has heavily impacted our decision to move our students off campus for instructions in order to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. We understand the concerns of our families as well as our staff, and we have made this decision with all considerations in mind. Please understand decisions such as these are not taken lightly and may not be convenient for everyone, but safety for all during this time of uncertainty is essential. We understand these decisions may create hardships and are disappointing to students and their families, but these are necessary measures to avoid the potential of spread within our schools and our community. During this time, next week, we will share a Google form with parents, guardians to register their students for the virtual learning options if the parents desires. If you register your student for this option, they will continue the virtual learning option for the remainder of the first semester, which does not end until Friday, December 17. Virtual students will be allowed to participate in extracurricular activities on campus. If academics become concerning while participating in a virtual learning option, the school may require the student to return on campus for in-person learning. At this time, the virtual learning option does not apply to pre-K students. Pre-K students must return on campus Monday, August 23rd. In order to make the best decisions for our community, we will continue monitoring the COVID-19 data to inform future decisions. Again, thank you for your support and flexibility during these times of uncertainty. This information is being shared with us and comes from the Crisp County Board of Education as we move through this time of uncertainty with our COVID cases. Along with that, we would also like to share with you the meal package pickup for August 17th through August 19th. The Tuesday route will begin at 9 o'clock a.m. They will have pickup locations at the Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church. 10 o'clock will be Straight Life Church. 11 o'clock will be the Housing Authority. And 12 o'clock noon will be Rosewood Estates. On Wednesday, the meal package pickup will begin at 9 o'clock a.m. at the Zion Hill Church, Twin Pines Road in Cordele. Blacksher Place Business and Event Center will also be a location for meal package pickup beginning at 9 o'clock a.m. on Wednesday. 10 o'clock a.m. on Wednesday, Pena Church, located on the Old Pena Road, will be the location, along with the Housing Authority, Sunrise Homes, Morningside Housing will begin at 10 o'clock a.m. At 11 o'clock a.m. on Wednesday, Araby on the Bedgood Road will be the pickup location. Also, First Baptist Church Child Development Center will be a site pickup as well. Wednesday at 12 o'clock noon, the old Crisp County Middle School lunchroom parking lot located at 1116 East 24th Avenue will be a pickup location. On Thursday, the route will be beginning at 9 o'clock a.m. at Salt Lick, located on Georgia Highway 300 here in Cordele. At 10 o'clock a.m., Thrive Church, 191 Ingram Boulevard in Cordele will be a pickup location. On Thursday at 11 o'clock a.m., the Housing Authority, C.C. Shearer Homes, located at 1111 McClendon Court, will be a site location. And on Thursday at 12 o'clock noon, Housing Authority, Clara Scott, located at 213 North 13th Street, will be a pickup location for the meal packages. If you have any questions or concern or need more information regarding the meal package pickup group, you may contact Ms. Lisa Leggett, the Director of School Nutrition for Crisp County, by calling 229-276-3400. Again, that number is 229-276-3400. Again, we remind you, as we just shared with you from the message coming from the Chris County Board of Education, that COVID-19 cases in our community are up. The numbers are rising within our area, within our state. So please let us do everything we can to fight this virus. Again, roll up your sleeves, go have your COVID-19 vaccine. It is here in our community. Many of our locations, many of our doctor's offices. Again, we remind you, if you will check with the MD Whitey's Medical Institute located at 401 North 13th Street. Cordell, give them a call at 229-469-8794 that you might have the opportunity to take your vaccination as well. We encourage you to do this as our numbers are continuing to rise. So let's do everything we can to help deter the spread of this pandemic. This will conclude our announcements for this morning.
Dedications. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following: in loving memory of Vienna City past Councilman Mr. Henry Johnson, who departed this life August 5th, 2020, and would have celebrated his birthday August 24th. Dedication requested by his beloved wife, Mrs. Inez Johnson, his children, grandchildren, his beloved sister, Mrs. Carrie Brooks, and the entire family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mr. Arthur Everett, who departed this life August the 10th, 1983. Dedication requested by the Everett family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Gail Melissa Westbrook Dawson, who would have celebrated her birthday August 12th. Dedication requested by her beloved children, Christopher and Tiffany Westbrook, Calvin and Portia Youngblood, and her beloved grandchildren, and her beloved mother, Mrs. Martha Ruth Westbrook of Araby, Georgia, and the entire family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mr. Michael Jerome Mathis, who departed this life August 13, 2020. Dedication requested by his beloved sister, Mrs. Juanita Mathis Tarbert, his beloved brothers, and the entire Mathis and Tarbert family. Precious memory lingers still. In loving memory of Mrs. Gussie Lee Davis, who departed this life August 14, 2001, and would have celebrated her birthday August 23rd. Dedication requested by her beloved daughter, Miss Mary Frances Davis, her grandchildren, and the entire family. Precious memory lingers still. In loving memory of Dr. Irma Lee Smith, who departed this life August 14, 2014. Dedication requested by her entire family and all of the members of the New St. Stephen's Church family and Dr. Frankie Herman, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Avina Stubbins, who departed this life August 14, 2011, and would have celebrated her birthday August 29. Dedication requested by the Henry, Stubbins, and Levant families. Precious memory lingers still. In loving memory of Deacon John Talbert Sr., who would have celebrated his birthday August 15 and departed this life August of 1989. Dedication requested by his beloved children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and the entire family, gone but not forgotten. Deacon John Talbert Sr. In loving memory of Mr. Curtis Lofton, who departed this life August 16, 2017. Dedication requested by his beloved wife, Mother Adeline Lofton of Araby, Georgia, his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and the entire Lofton family. Precious memory lingers still of Mr. Curtis Lofton of Araby, Georgia. In loving memory of Mr. Corey Jones, who departed this life August 20th, 2004. Dedication requested by the Jones and Rouse family. Precious memory lingers still of Mr. Corey Jones. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following. Happy 9th anniversary to Mr. Derek and Miss Pamela Smith, who will celebrate their anniversary Wednesday, August 18. Dedication requested by their beloved family, Mr. Derek and Mrs. Pamela Smith, who celebrate their 9th wedding anniversary on Wednesday, August 18. God continue to bless your union and keep it strong. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following. Send out a very special birthday wish to our very own Mrs. Lavonda Tunde of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home, who celebrated her birthday on Monday, August 9th. Dedication requested by her beloved husband, her entire family, and the staff and management of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Say happy birthday to Lavonda and many, many more. Happy birthday to Miss Sandra Michelle Hardy, who celebrated her birthday on Monday, August 9th. Dedication requested by the Hardy family. Happy birthday to Miss Yvonne Kennedy, who is celebrating her birthday today, Sunday, August 15. Dedication comes from her children and grandchildren to Miss Yvonne Kennedy on today. Happy birthday and many, many more. Happy birthday to Mr. Theodore Talbot, who will celebrate his birthday Monday, August 16. Dedication requested by the entire Talbot family for Mr. Theodore Talbot on Monday, August 16. Happy 60th birthday to Dr. Frankie Harmon of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home, who will celebrate her birthday Monday, August 16th. Dedication requested by her children, grandchildren, and the entire Harmon family, her beloved mother, Mother Jessie Kate Harmon, and the entire family, and the members of the New St. Stephen's Church family, where she served as pastor, and the staff of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. I'll say happy birthday to Dr. Frankie Herman, and she put on here, she did the announcement, so she said 60th birthday, happy 60th birthday to Dr. Frankie Herman. I guess those steps will be hard to climb on Monday now. Happy birthday to Miss Lateria Lee Woodson, who will be celebrating her birthday Wednesday, August 18. Dedication requested by the Woodson, Collier, Grace, and Laitler family to Miss Lateria Lee Woodson. Happy birthday Wednesday, August 18. And happy birthday to Mr. Johnny Talbot, who will celebrate his birthday August the 23rd. Dedication requested by his beloved wife, the children, grandchildren, and the entire family. Mr. Johnny Talbot, and I would assume Mrs. Juanita Talbot and family. Then all of the members of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Baptist Church's pastor, Dr. K.M. Williams, Deacon Tommy Ford, and Mother Lucille Shazer, and all the membership says happy birthday to Mr. Johnny Talbot and the members of the Brotherhood ministry and the male course. Happy birthday to Mr. Johnny Talbot on Tuesday, August 23rd. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following: Deacon James Smith and family, Mr. Samuel McCluster and family, Miss Sheila Thorpe and family, Miss Martha West and family, Miss Murtis Evans and family, Mrs. Lenore Lofton and family, Mrs. Catherine Spears and family, Miss Julia, Mother Julia Turner and family, Mr. and Mrs. Julius Darisaw and family, Mrs. Mary Holmes and family, Mr. Robert Brown and family, Mr. Willie B. Robinson and family, Mother May Francis Maynard, and her son, the Reverend Nelson Maynard, and all of the entire Maynard family, Mr. Termel Townsend and family, Mother Evelyn B. Lewis and family, Ms. Daquita Hunt and family, Mrs. Burnell Welburn and family, Mr. Roy Dawson and family, Mrs. Annie G. Harvey and family, Mr. John Reese and family, Mr. Kentavious Addy and family, Mother Easter May Byram and family, and the entire Byram family, Miss Neffy Harvey and family, Deacon Lonnie Clayton and family of Lily, Georgia, Mrs. Ida B. Waters and family, Miss Mattie Mays and family, the Reverend Joel Butts and family, Mother Grace Patrick and family, Deacon George and Mrs. Josephine Lawrence and family, Mrs. Anna Ruth Jordan and family, Vienna, Georgia, Miss Mary Frances Davis and family, Miss Thelma Brown and family, Miss Mary Taylor and family, Miss Burl Patrick and family, Mrs. Willie McGill and family, Miss Nettie Cross and family, Mrs. Tommy Glenn and family, Mr. Judge Glenn and family, Mrs. Shalonda Donaldson and family, Mr. Justin Corbin Jr. and family, Mrs. Loretta Fields and family, the Reverend and Mrs. Ivory J. Corbin and family, Mrs. Naisha Davis and family, Mrs. Nakora Moore and family, Miss Norma Solomon and family, the Armstrong family, Miss Esther Johnson and family of Araby, Georgia, Mr. Ricky Hardeman and family, Mr. Philip Stembridge and family, Mrs. Ola Lofton and family, Mr. and Mrs. A.B. Levant and family, Deacon and Mrs. Norman Fields and family, Mr. and Mrs. Danny Jackson and family, Miss Rita Cross and family, Mrs. Donna Cobb and family, Mother Minnie Fletcher and family, Mother Ida Bell Patrick and family, Mrs. Geraldine Pickens and family, Mrs. Jackie Lattimore and family, Mrs. Vivian Daniels and family, Mrs. Lottie Tarbert and family, Mr. Don and Miss Cynthia White and family, Mrs. Kira Lane and family, Mr. William and Mrs. Brenda Jones and family, Mr. Keith and Mrs. Carrie Dexter and family, my nephew and niece, Mrs. Eula Little and family, Mr. and Mrs. Jimmy Griffin and family, Vienna, Georgia, Mrs. Elizabeth Harris and family, Miss Willie Mae Crabb and family, Mr. and Mrs. John Lee Smith Jr. and family, Miss Selena West and family, Deacon Edward and Mrs. Ethel Smith and family, Mrs. Eula Harvey and family, Mrs. Maybelle Joseph and families, Beatrice Thomas and family, Deacon John David Law and family, Chairman of the Board of Deacons of the Evergreen Baptist Church of Pinehurst, Georgia, Deacon and Mrs. Vet T. Crane and family, Mrs. Maddie S. Bryant and family, who's watching on Facebook and family, our dear friend of long-standing Mrs. Wanda Dykes of Savannah, Georgia, and Cordele, Georgia, who's watching on Facebook this morning. Say good morning, Mrs. Wanda Dykes, one of the old neighbors of Fifth Avenue West here in Cordele, Georgia. Ms. Juanita Smith and family, Ms. Isabella Smith and family, Mrs. Edna Mercer and family, Mrs. Connie Hopkins Shepherd and family, Mrs. Cheryl Williams Dixon and family, Mrs. Gloria Maria Lucas and family, Ms. Mary Trahan and family of the Greater Mars Tabernacle Baptist Church, Mrs. Carol Dempson and family, Deacon Wayward Dempsey and family, Mrs. Cheryl Cobb Henry and family of Americus, Georgia, Deaconess Cassandra Jones Jackson, in memory of her beloved father, Mr. Oscar Jones, gone but not forgotten. Mrs. Geraldine Harvey and family, Deacon Henry King and family of the Gethsemane Missionary Baptist Church, the family of the late Mrs. Ida Rose Oliver, Miss Essie Gay and family, Mother Mary Butler, church mother of the Gethsemane Missionary Baptist Church, Mother Janie Ruth Billings and family of DeSoto, Georgia, Deacon and Mrs. Lawrence Williams and family of Leslie, Georgia, Deacon Joette Clark and family, Deacon Ben Clark and family, Chairman Deacon and Mrs. Oscar Cook and family of the Friendship Baptist Church, of DeSoto, Georgia, our first selection for this morning. It is certainly with the deepest regret that we make the following announcement. Mr. Quamaine S. Outlaw, age 30, of 84 Cole Drive, Hawkinsville, Georgia, died Thursday, August 12th in Hawkinsville, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Quamaine S. Outlaw, age 30, will be held Friday, August 20th at 11 a.m. graveside at the Spring Hill Baptist Church Cemetery in Tippettville, Georgia. Elder J.W. Bentley will officiate. The public walk-up visitation will be Thursday, August 19th from 1 until 5 p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. The J.W. Williams funeral directors serving Cordele and Vienna are in charge of this arrangement during this week. Our next and final selection for this morning is dedicated to the bereaved families whose loved ones were laid to rest during the past week. The family of retired United States Army veteran Deacon Eddie Lee Cooper Sr. of Leslie, Georgia. The family of Mr. Rika Danielle Holmes of Americus, Georgia. This election is dedicated to the bereaved family whose loved ones will be laid to rest during this week. The family of Mr. Cormaine S. Outlaw of Hawkinsville, Georgia. This election is dedicated to all of the sick and shut-in, to all patients in the local and surrounding hospitals, nursing homes, and rehabilitation centers, to our beloved ministers and our devoted family members, to all retired educators, to the men and women serving in our armed forces, both stateside and abroad, to all veterans, and to everyone who listens to our program on each Sunday morning. It's a pleasure for us to bring it to you. Our program goes out in memory of our past president, Dr. Napoleon Williams. This program is dedicated to my wife, Mrs. Calandra Wickerson Parker, to my son, Jai Wickerson Parker. This election is dedicated to my mother-in-law, Mrs. Billy Ann Hall, and family. Goes out to my brother, retired Chief Master Sergeant Norman F. Dexter, to his wife, Dr. Gwendolyn Knightsing Dexter of Vienna, Georgia, and their grandson, Noble. This election goes out to my sister, Mrs. Mattie Mae Johnson, better known as Sister Girl, and Miss Pastor Jackson, who's watching us by way of Facebook this morning, to her husband, Mr. Jim Jackson, and family. This election goes out to my nephew, Deacon Kenneth Smith, program chairman of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church, and to our pastor, Dr. K.M. Williams, pastor of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church and moderator of the Gum Creek Missionary Baptist Association. Goes out to his wife, Sister Kathy Williams, and family. This election goes out to the Reverend Johnny Dean, pastor of the New Poplar Springs Baptist Church of Byronville, Georgia, and all of the members of New Poplar Springs there. This election goes out to Mr. Cleveland R. Lemon, oldest staff member of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. To Mr. Cleveland R. Lemon. This election this morning is dedicated to Mr. Earl Passmore and family, Mr. Larry Passmore and family, Miss Lewis Harriel Sr. and family, Miss Yvette Zanders and family, Mr. Alvin Jones and family, Miss Rosa Rice and family, Deacon and Mrs. Grandy Ridley and family, Mr. Henry Wheeler and family, Mr. Ricky Smith and family, Mrs. Daphne Askew and family, Mrs. Minnie L. Passmore and family, Mr. and Mrs. J.W. Billingsley and family of Unadilla, Georgia, Miss Stephanie Westbrook and family, Miss Cheryl Royal and family, Mr. Willie James Young and family, Mrs. Shirley Washington and family, Mr. and Mrs. Michael D. Bruce and family, Mrs. Mary Jo Osleby and family, Mr. and Mrs. Carl Westbury and family, Mrs. Carletta Leonard and family, Mr. and Mrs. Franklin Jordan and family, the Reverend and Mrs. Arthur Jordan and family, Mrs. Dorothy Nadine Young and family, Ms. Rosella Leggett and family, Mrs. Donna Lester and family, Ms. Jackie Wheeler and family, Mr. Kevin Whitfield and family, Mr. Alton K. Brown and family, Mrs. Rhonda Lester and family, Mr. Calvin Ford and family, Ms. Christine Kinchin and family, Mrs. Anita Leary and family, Mrs. Ira Robinson and family, to the mayor of Warwick, Sister Juanita Kinchin, and the entire family. Mr. Steve Jackson III and family, to Mrs. Letha Askew, church clerk, and trustee of the New Oak Grove Baptist Church, the Reverend and Mrs. Don James and family, Miss Cynthia Webb and family, Miss Cynthia Barnum and family, Mrs. Lawayne Harriel and family, Mr. Burt Kinchin and family, Mr. and Mrs. Alvin Lester and family, Mr. Robert Ford and family, Deacon and Mrs. James Askew and family, Mrs. Alice Henry and family, Mr. and Mrs. Donnie Brown and family, Mr. Tony Stubbs and family, Ms. Anita Whitfield and family, Ms. Cornelia Brown and family, the entire Perry family of Vienna, Georgia, Deacon and Mrs. John Perry and family, Mrs. Harriet Bryan and family, Mrs. Darcy Owens and family, and Mr. Arnell Holmes and family. Our final selection for this morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning. We hope you've enjoyed our program. Tune in again on next Sunday morning. In your time of need, contact the competent, capable, and dependable staff at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home.